Welcome back to Brandon Sports, everybody. Hope you're having an amazing day. We're going to go over all the NFL games that happened on Sunday. I'm going to give you my thoughts about each game and what happened. But before we get into that, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe button for more great content coming up on the channel. First, we're going to start with the Seattle Seahawks versus the Atlanta Falcons. Overall thoughts about this game with Seattle and Atlanta was Seattle's defense was dominant again, held Atlanta to only 3 field goals. Sam Darnold's stat line for the Seattle Seahawks was 20 of 30 for 249 yards, 66.6% completion percentage, 3 touchdowns and an interception. And I want to make a note here. Sam Darnold has 74 passing yards going into the third quarter. I think it was 10 minutes left in the third quarter. And he had 74. And then he ended the game with 249 yards passing, 3 touchdowns and an interception. Average per attempt was 8.3. Jackson Smith-Njigba had 7 receptions for 92 yards and 2 touchdowns on 10 targets, which was very phenomenal. Cooper Kupp had 2 catches, 35 yards and a touchdown. This game by the Seattle Seahawks was very, very good up on their part, even though they're facing Atlanta, which is Atlanta is basically a terrible team. And looking at Kirk Cousins' stat line, he was 15 of 30, 162 yards, 50% completion percentage, and 2 interceptions. And he was sacked 1 time, and he still couldn't get a touchdown in. You still have Bijan Robinson and Allinger. Bijan Robinson had 20 carries for 86 yards. No touchdowns from this team today at all, period. This is just embarrassing by Atlanta. Again, I'm going to say it again. Their coaching staff is going to get fired at the end of the season. This is how bad this was. This was a horrible game for Atlanta. You couldn't score not 1 touchdown against this team. I know their defense is great, but man, do you know who was able to score a touchdown against the Seattle Seahawks? I'm looking at it right here. They beat the Tennessee Titans 30-24. Tennessee was able to score a touchdown, and Cam Ward has been horrible all year. Now, I know he's a rookie, and I'll give him a little bit of a reprieve, but this is just insane. 30-24. They beat Minnesota. You know, they obviously just wiped Minnesota, Seattle, but come on, Cam Ward can score a touchdown. Kirk Cousins, my problem with Kirk Cousins is this. The guy's making a lot of money coming off the bench, even though they drafted Michael Penix. Fine, he's a backup. But as a backup, you're expected to take over for the starting quarterback. Kirk Cousins, you have enough experience in this league to get the job done. And you have done nothing as a backup. If I'm Atlanta, I don't care what the tag is. The dead money, I'm going to get it over with now. I don't want you in my locker room. I don't want you in my building. This was absolutely awful from Kirk Cousins. I don't know how the fans do it in Atlanta. I don't know how you guys do it in Atlanta. He is horrible. He is horrible. I wouldn't want him as a backup, just as a mentor maybe, but this is just ridiculous. He does not play. He doesn't do nothing well. I know he had the Achilles injury 2 years ago, but this is insane how bad he is as a backup. Listen, as a starting level quarterback, fine, I get it. He's not a starter anymore. That's fine. But as a backup quarterback, you have enough talent on that team. I know Drake London was out with an injury. You still got a good running back. You got a backup running back who's good enough. This is either coaching, the quarterback. It's just everybody's going to get fired. I will remove Kirk Cousins from the building. I will remove the coaches. Maybe I'll keep the GM. But other than that, I'm getting rid of the coach. I'm getting rid of the entire staff. They got to go. You got to go. This is just so badly embarrassing for the Atlanta Falcons. And by the way, the Atlanta Falcons were supposed to be the second best team in this division this year. Think about it for a second. Tampa was supposed to be number 1. Let's just go before the season. You look at the rosters and you go down. Tampa was going to be number 1 because of the past experience that they have and the veterans they have on the team. Atlanta was supposed to be 2 because of what they did, last year and then, improving and going through the draft and everything. They were supposed to be number 2. Number 3, everybody had consensus was Carolina was going to be 3rd. They're still improving. And then the Saints were going to be 4th because they're just horrible and they have a lot of dead cap money. That was the consensus amongst most people. The fact that Atlanta is 3rd is an embarrassment to the entire organization. This team has not been the same since y'all lost to Tom Brady with that 28-3 lead in that Super Bowl. This is atrocious. I don't know what y'all going to do. Atlanta's horrible. Seattle's a great team. They're going to the playoffs. It's a great year for Seattle. It's a great year for Sam Darnold. I was wrong. I had Seattle going last in the division just because I thought the Arizona Cardinals were going to improve to be number 3. Had the 49ers number 2, and I had the Rams number 1 winning the division. And Seattle right now, they're number 1 in the division, which is a great thing. But all in all, Atlanta is a terrible team. I'm spending too much time talking about it. They're just horrible. They do nothing. They do nothing good. Defense horrible. Offense is horrible. Offensive line. Everything is horrible. He was only sacked 1 time and still couldn't get nothing done. Kirk Cousins is awful. An awful quarterback. Congratulations, Seattle. You won the game. Atlanta should be embarrassed, and I feel bad for the fan base. That was a horrible game, and I put it at Kirk Cousins. I put it at the defense coordinator. I put it on everybody in that building today. That was a horrible, horrible game. This was a horrible game, and if you watched it, I feel sorry for you. That's how bad this game was. This game was so bad, I feel sorry that you watched it, and I feel sorry that I watched some of it too. That's how bad this was. Again, I know I'm repeating myself, but this was horrible. Next up, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Baltimore Ravens. Now, first, overall thoughts about this game was Aaron Rodgers looked good today, and I told y'all in my predictions that for basically one game, that I was going to pick Aaron Rodgers over Lamar Jackson because I said Lamar Jackson, something looks wrong with Lamar. He had a good run today, but he still don't look the same. He's tippy-toeing on his passes. Don't want to run the ball. Looks like I don't know what's going on with Lamar Jackson. I keep saying I don't know what's going on. Right now, they're second in division. They're 6-7. Pittsburgh is 7-6. Aaron Rodgers, I got to give him his credit. I said I was picking him. I was taking the Steelers, and I went with him. He was 23 of 34, 284 yards, 67.6% completion percentage. Average per attempt was 8.3, and he had a touchdown. And by the way, their running game, Gainwell, 4 attempts for 15 yards, 3.7 average per carry, 1 touchdown. Warren, 8 carries, 13 yards, 1.6 average. The running game, they really do nothing. Combined together, all the runners, including Aaron Rodgers, by the way, who had 2 attempts for 0 yards and a touchdown, 17 attempts for 34 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's the entire, everybody who rushed in this football game. You look at their receiving core. DK Metcalf, 7 catches, 148 yards on 12 targets. He had a great game in this game. I know he didn't have a touchdown. Warren had 3 catches for 49 yards and a touchdown. Just a great game by the Steelers. And their defense showed up today. And when you look at the Baltimore Ravens, Lamar Jackson, 19 of 35, 219 yards, 54% completion percentage. Average per attempt was 6.2. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Sacked twice. I don't know what's going on with Lamar Jackson, y'all. I'm looking at Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers wasn't sacked at all. It says 0 sacks up here. And I'm looking at NFL.com, 0 sacks. That means Baltimore, you couldn't get 1 sack over an old quarterback like this? I don't know what's going on with the Baltimore Ravens, man. Derrick Henry had 25 carries for 94 yards. He actually did a great job running the ball, even though he averaged only 33.7 yards a carry. The way that he was if you watch the game and the way that he was running in this game, I was like, man, Derrick Henry still got it. He's running his football. Mitchell, the other backup running back, 6 carries for 76 yards. He was running really good as well. Zay Flowers, 11 targets. He had 8 catches, 124 yards. Isaiah Likely, 4 catches for 25 yards and a touchdown. By the way, he was in the end zone. He had the ball so stretched out, and a lot of people saying this is a horrible call, but the other defender smacked out his hand, and the touchdown was called back. Again, when you look at this Baltimore Ravens team, the defense is not doing their job. They didn't have not 1 sack. Look what Buffalo did to Aaron Rodgers last week. You couldn't get 1 sack against this Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line? Do you know how bad Pittsburgh's offensive line has been up and down? Not really bad, but up and down all year, and you couldn't get a sack? This was ridiculous. I don't know what's going on with Baltimore. And by the way, Zay Flowers, every time you catch the ball, you don't have to catch the ball and then try to backpedal your way out and just go back. No, go forward and get down. You do this every week, and it's frustrating. Every time Lamar Jackson throws you the ball, you just want to take the ball, step up, and then you're going to run back. Because you're trying to run back to get more. No, get the yardage. You're losing. You're losing. Stop trying to run back and get more yardage. Instead, just go forward. Get up. Give the ball to the referee so you get another drive going and get the flow of the offense going. What are you doing? Every time you do this, every Baltimore game I watched this year, every time you catch the ball, you go backwards. Ridiculous. This is ridiculous. I don't know what's going on with Baltimore, man. I think their season is over. DeAndre Hopkins, 1 target. Come on, Lamar Jackson. Listen, DeAndre Hopkins not the same wide receiver that he was, but man, get him more targets than that, man. I know I'm stuttering. Lamar Jackson did not play well. 54% completion percentage for this team. He said, it feels like we're not on the same page. Come on, man. It's too late in the season for this. Ever since that Dolphins game, you've been horrible, and it's on you. Yeah, the defense ain't showing up, but y'all ain't show up in the beginning of last year. Now, at the end of last year, you guys started showing up, but then this year came in with no energy, no nothing. You got hurt. Then you came back. The backup quarterback was horrible. Cooper Rush was terrible. Then you get back in, you play against the Dolphins, 4 touchdowns, now it's fine, but now you've been horrible. This loss is basically on you. Because if both defense ain't playing well, at least on offense you could show me something. You ain't show me nothing today. The Baltimore Ravens have been terrible ever since Lamar Jackson came back from this injury, and I'm not blaming him for being, the entire team being terrible, but after that 4-touchdown game against the Dolphins, this team has not shown up at all. At all. It was a horrible game. The Pittsburgh Steelers won this game fair and square. I know they had a controversial call, but if you look at the entire game, the defense played well, and the momentum that they was getting just by playing well, knocking down passes, picking off Lamar Jackson, which was alleged that his cousin picked him off. So that's probably that's probably, if you sit at the dinner table with your cousin, I picked you off. But anyway, this is a great game by the Steelers. Now they're 7-6. The Baltimore Ravens are 6-7. Cincinnati's 4-9, and Cleveland is 3-10. And next week, Baltimore faces Cincinnati again. You got to face Cincinnati again. Not only got to face Cincinnati again, you got to go up against Joe Burrow, who I'm not too fond of right now because what he just did in the game, which we'll get to later. But Baltimore, I don't know what's going on. This is just probably not y'all year. I know you guys gave Mark Andrews extension. He'll be back. Zay Flowers be back. Y'all got to retool a little bit. You got to get some more offensive wide receivers for Lamar Jackson because this is terrible. Baltimore has been horrible, and I don't want them to fire John Harbaugh. I don't think John Harbaugh, it's not his fault. This team is injured a lot the past recent years. If you go back and look at the history, the running backs are always hurt. They had like 3 running backs hurt one year. Lamar was hurt, wide receivers hurt. For some reason, whoever's on their medical staff, somebody's always hurt. It's every other year. You have a good year, and then 1 year somebody's hurt. Or it's 2 years. Every 2 years you have a good year, then 1 year is a lousy year. This year might be the lousy year. Next year you might come back and be great. But this is just a horrible game by Baltimore Ravens. And a great job to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Next up, we have the Tennessee Titans versus the Cleveland Browns. I'm going to jump to it. Jim Schwartz called a horrible game today. It was a horrible game calling. I don't care what nobody say. The defense is horrible. Myles Garrett had 1 sack, his 20th sack. Congratulations on your 20th sack. I know you're trying to get the record. But it's 22 and a half. You need 23 in total to break the record. We know you're probably going to break the record. It's okay. Man, you got to stop being greedy, though. We know you're going to get your sack. But the way that you was playing, no, you had 0 pressures, no nothing. And that offensive line is bad. And that's the kind of the story with Myles Garrett in Cleveland. He's going to dominate. He's going to be great. And then some games he's going to be a no-show. And then you're looking at him like, man, what's going on? I thought you was a great defensive end. Now, I still say he deserves Defensive Player of the Year. No matter what, he deserves Defensive Player of the Year. I'm not taking away from him. I like Myles Garrett a lot. When he got drafted, a lot of people didn't like him being a 1 overall pick. I didn't care because I knew that guy that size, you take him and then you see what you can do with him later. And look what he's doing now. So I'm not going to complain about anything. I'm not going to question his effort, toughness, or nothing. But sometimes in Cleveland, and you could ask around, there are times where he plays well. Great game, 5-sack game, but then he'll come back the next week and 0 sacks. He was being extra. I know he was trying to get the record. He was trying to get it, but this Tennessee Titans offensive line is bad, and y'all only had 1 sack as a team. Jim Schwartz, the defensive players covering, they had no effort. Tony Pollard was running the ball. I'm going to read you the stats right now. Tony Pollard, 25 carries for 161 yards and 2 touchdowns. I don't think Tony Pollard played this well all season. He averaged 6.4 yards per an average for a carry, man. 25 attempts for 161 yards against this defense? The receiving core was okay, but man, this is horrible. This defense allowed him to do this. All the receivers combined, obviously, it's Cam Ward's stat line. 14 catches, 172 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's his stat line. The defense had an interception. The defense, they had 2 sacks. One person had a half a sack, Harrell, and then Justin Simmons had 1.5 sacks. So they had 2 sacks. They had more sacks than Cleveland. If you came into this game and said Tennessee would have 1 more sack than Cleveland, I'll tell you was a liar. Like, this was horrible. This was just horrible game from the Cleveland Browns defense and the coaching. Jim Schwartz, you're better than this, man. Cam Moore looked good, or 50%. He completed 50% of the passes, so he looked decent against his team. But man, you let him play his second best game or third best game, however you want to shoot it, in his career against a good defense. The safeties and the cornerbacks, no effort. Just none. We're going to go to Shedeur stat line, 23 of 42, 364 yards, 54.8% completions. Average yards per attempt was 8.67. 3 touchdowns to interception. Obviously, he was sacked twice. He had 3 carries for 29 yards and a touchdown. Jenkins, 14 carries for 26 yards. Yeah, he averaged 1.9 yards per carry. And he made a terrible mistake. It looked like the ball slipped out of his hand a little bit on that pitch at the end of the game. But man, that was horrible. That was terrible. You going for 2. Kevin Stefanski, at some point, I said last week that we're blaming Kevin Stefanski on everything, even though Tommy Rees has a play calling. But the reason why Kevin Stefanski gets the blame is because his post-game press conference has looked horrible. He's been horrible in these press conferences, and he's not going to get any better. And the one thing I have myself thinking is like, man, you just really going to take the bullet for everybody. Tommy Rees was awful. I know you can't throw your coach under the bus, but you have the final say of what goes down. So even if the offensive coordinator is coaching, he's going to say, are we going for 2 or are we going to take the 1 point? You go for 2 in the beginning of the game and y'all fumble it. You go for 2 again, you do a wildcat play. Let me tell you something. And for all the people out there, oh, well, he did it with Dillon Gabriel too. Dillon Gabriel's not playing no more, right, for right now. Shedeur Sanders is a quarterback. You have to see what you have in your quarterback and look what's going on. You need to see what you have in your quarterback. Can you trust him? Whatever the case may be. I don't even think it's that. But, man, you do a wildcat for a 2-point conversion at the end of the game instead of giving it to the quarterback, spread everybody out. You saw the touchdown, amazing touchdown throw that he just threw, and you do that. He's the only quarterback since Joe Burrow of his rookie year to throw for 300, have 3 touchdowns, and have a rushing touchdown. Harold Fannin had a great game, 8 catches, 114 yards of a touchdown. Jerry Jeudy, a nice 60-yard catch for 3 catches for 76 yards. He went 60 yards for 1 touchdown. And David Njoku, I know he got hurt. He had 1 catch for 1 yard and 1 touchdown. He averaged 1 yard. So it was a great game by the Cleveland's offense. They actually showed up. And what's really surprising is that Cleveland's offense scored 29 points. When was the last time Cleveland's offense scored this high amount of points? Remember, they were averaging 17 to 18 points per game in a season since dating back to last year. And you call a game like this is on Kevin Stefanski. This is on Tommy Rees. Tommy Rees has to start getting blamed too. And I know the media is getting fed up because they keep asking, why are you taking him out the game? See, nobody would have asked that before if it's, well, he's just a rookie. We don't trust him yet. He's a couple games in now. See what you have. I'm not caping for Shedeur Sanders. I'm not. I liked him since he was in high school. I watched him in college. I thought he was a good quarterback. I tell you guys, I try to be unbiased on this channel. I don't play favorites to nobody. I look what I see and just give you my opinion. Shedeur Sanders played well. Yes, did he have a bad interception? Of course. 1 sack he took was okay. Whatever. We can live through that. The passes that he made in this game were great passes. I know he completed 54% of his passes. But man, he gave you all he had and Jim Schwartz called a bad game. This was a terrible loss for Cleveland. If you would have just kicked the PAT the first time, you would have never had to go for 2 again. You just kicked the PAT and the game would have been tied. Now you got to go for 2 because you want to be smarter than everybody. See, this is what coaches do. Yeah, I want to be smarter than everybody. So you go for 2 the first time. Why would you do that? It's early in the game. In the first quarter, you scored. Tennessee Titans scored 14 points. You scored 3. Then you scored 14 points and they scored none. You were up 17-14. Then you didn't score in the third quarter. They came back in the third quarter and scored 7. So now it's 21-14. Then they scored 10 points and then you come back and score 12. This is just unbelievable. And if I'm the Cleveland Browns fan base, I'm not coming to another game this season. I got to start boycotting Cleveland. Because let me tell you something. I'm a little truth telling here. They don't want to win because Jason Lloyd of The Athletic, I'm going to give him his credit. He said they're waiting for the dome. They're waiting for the stadium. I think this is exactly what this is. They're waiting for the dome and that they don't want to win and they want to get as much draft picks as they can to continuously rebuild this team so when they go on that dome, they'll have a good team and they'll have fans invested. I think that's what's going on. I think that's exactly what's going on. This team is an embarrassment. The whole organization is an embarrassment. At least Tennessee tried. I got to give them their credit. They won this game. I don't care about no game pick. I know I got it wrong, but shout out to Tennessee. I got the W, but Kevin Stefanski and this play calling, Jim Schwartz, everybody in Cleveland should feel bad. Actually, if I'm a fan, I feel encouraged of Shedeur's performance. But other than that, I just feel bad at the coaching staff. And they're probably going to stay because they signed extensions just last year. What was it, 4 or 5 year extension or 3 years, whatever, how many years it was. And your GM, Andrew Berry, the rookie class that he drafted was actually good, so they're going to give him another chance. Kevin Stefanski, I don't know. But they just gave them contract extensions, and you don't want to pay him. I don't even know if they're still paying Hugh Jackson or not. I don't even know what's going on with their payroll. But this was horrible again. Terrible play calling by the Cleveland Browns. Next up, we had the Colts versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, in this game, my thoughts are, I feel sorry for Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones was having a great comeback season after being cut by New York, going to Minnesota, didn't get the job there. He comes to the Indianapolis Colts. He revitalizes his career. They're 8-1. Now they're 8-5. They're third in the division because Houston, obviously we'll get to that in a bit. They won their game. Jacksonville's 9-4. I feel bad for him because, man, he had a fracture in his fibula. He had a fracture in his fibula, and when you have to have a fracture in your fibula, you have to compensate on the other leg, and he went to go throw a pass. If you guys saw it or not, he popped his Achilles, and his season's over. He has a 9-month recovery time, which will put him up against the season, so hopefully he comes back, and I hope the Colts do bring him back. I hope he doesn't lose out on $80 million, because that could have been $80 million just guaranteed alone. I hope they pay him his money, or give him a 1-year deal. 1 year, 14, maybe 1 year, 20 million with the same amount guaranteed this year with the 14 million or $12 million guaranteed this year. I think they should do that for him. Anthony Richardson, if I'm a coach, you ain't gonna start another game, buddy. You gotta go. They gotta bring in another quarterback next year to come in and serve as the quarterback just in case he's up against it, because it's December now, so he's just gonna be out for a while. But I hope he does recover. I felt bad for him because I'm like, man, I know he out there trying. I know he want to win. And for those people out there who are having bad faith arguments about, oh, you traded around 2 first-round picks and you got Sauce Gardner, they didn't know this man was going to tear his Achilles, even though he should have been out there on that fibula. But he still showed that, I mean, I want to play. And I'm not too banged up, but you're going to compensate on the other leg. Now, the problem is people saying, oh, well, now you only got 2 first-round picks. Let me ask anybody a question that's watching this right now or is going to see this. What quarterback's coming out of college right now that's better than Daniel Jones? Because all I've heard, and I watch college football, and I try to familiarize myself with it, get familiar with the college football. I try to. What college quarterback is coming out right now that's better than him? Because every single time people talk about college football, it's not going to be a great quarterback draft. Y'all waiting for Arch Manning next year because people don't even think Arch Manning will come out this year. And the way that people are crapping on him, y'all don't even think that he's that great. So who's going to be the quarterback that replaces him? These bad faith arguments have to stop. He tried his best. It didn't go well. They don't have a first-round pick. So what? Say if they come back next year and perform well. Because you can't trust Jacksonville, not with Trevor Lawrence the way he be playing, which I'll get to in a second. Houston's there. Tennessee ain't going to be good next year. They 2-11 right now. They'll probably be decent if they continuously build. They got to hire a new coach and everything. We don't know if Cam Ward going to be great. They still have a chance, man. Stop with these bad faith arguments about, oh, man, they ruined their future. You don't know that. I dislike when people do that because it's just a bad argument. You could do it with something else, but the man just popped his Achilles, and everybody, oh my God, it's over. Come on, man. Riley Leonard, by the way, the backup quarterback, had 18 for 29, 145 yards, and an interception. He wasn't good either. He had a rushing touchdown too, though. Jonathan Taylor, 21 carries for 74 yards and a touchdown. He was decent. The Colts season is over. I believe in Daniel Jones that much. The Colts season is over. It is over for this team. We'll move to Jacksonville. Jacksonville's defense played a great game. Trevor Lawrence was 17 of 30, 244 yards, 2 touchdowns, 8.1 average, 56.7% complete percentage. I won't hassle him about his complete percentage today. I'll leave him alone. But, man, they are winning in spite of you, man. Travis Etienne was balling, 20 attempts for 74 yards and 2 touchdowns. This was a great game by Travis Etienne. Tim Patrick, 5 catches, 78 yards and a touchdown. Myers, 4 catches for 39 yards and a touchdown. 6 targets for Brian Thomas with 3 catches and 87 yards. So he had 87 yards, but you just got to get the ball more. Other than that, this was a good game by Jacksonville. They're 9-4. They're number 1 in the division. Again, you feel bad for Daniel Jones and the Indianapolis Colts because they were rolling, and now it just seems like their season is over. Can they bounce back next year and continue to build? Yes. And by the way, just because you have first-round picks or just because you get rid of your first-round picks, I want to say this. Just because you get rid of your first-round picks does not mean that the other team that has them is going to draft well with them. See, that's a problem that people don't understand about when you trade draft picks. You still have to, if I give you something, you still got to do right by what I give you. So are they going to do well? Are the New York Jets going to draft well with those 2 first-round picks? For Sauce Gardner, are they going to draft well? Do you even know if they're going to use a quarterback with those draft picks? Come on, I just don't like these bad faith arguments. We wish Daniel Jones a speedy recovery with his Achilles. Hope everything goes right with him. But, man, that was a tough thing to watch because you're rooting for and I'm not rooting for everybody, but the story of it is he's bounced back and he's finally found the home in the team. And it just sucks to see him pop his Achilles like that. So we hope that he gets, obviously gets better and gets back here. But, man, that was brutal. Jacksonville, again, is 9-4. So you have to give them the respect and the kudos. Great defense and a great running game. Quarterback is still a little bit suspect, so we have to see down the line about Trevor Lawrence because I still don't trust him. Next up, we had the Washington Commanders versus the Minnesota Vikings. This game, I am shocked. I'm not going to lie to y'all, I was shocked. Jaden Daniels, 9 of 20, 78 yards interception. I picked the Commanders to win this game. And the reason why I picked him in this game, because I said, hey, if I have to trust somebody, is it Jaden Daniels or is it J.J. McCarthy? And I said, nah, I trust Jaden Daniels. And then he came in there, didn't play well, hurt his elbow again. He was crying on the sidelines. You do feel bad that he was crying. And I do feel bad that his season is going like this. But again, you have next year. You have to continuously build through the draft. I know you went to the NFC Championship game. I know it's devastating. 3-10 right now, and they're not in the playoffs. But this is just going to be a year that's you're going to have to get everything together. This team, Marcus Mariota was 2 for 4, 30 yards, and he had an interception. He was horrible. The rest of the team, y'all didn't do nothing. Nobody did nothing. Bobby Wagner, again, one of the best middle linebackers to ever do it. I'm going to give him his respect. He had a sack, 16 total tackles, 6 solo tackles. He was great in this game. This entire defense had 4 sacks, and y'all still didn't get it done. I don't blame y'all, though. I blame the offense, because without Jaden Daniels, y'all don't have nothing. I feel bad for the Commanders because y'all played well last year. Now, as far as J.J. McCarthy goes, 16 of 23, 160 yards and 3 touchdowns, 69.6% completion percentage. Aaron Jones had 14 carries and 76 yards. Mason had 11 carries, 52 yards and a touchdown. Their tight end Oliver had 2 touchdowns. Higginson, they had a touchdown. If I'm Justin Jefferson, you only target me 4 times? You target me 4 times, and you target Addison 7 times. When does that ever happen? Okay, once in a blue moon, but come on, man. He had 4 targets. Justin Jefferson had 4 targets, 2 catches for 11 yards. Are we serious right now? Again, if I'm Justin Jefferson, I'm asking for a trade. I don't want to be here no more. Y'all not going to listen. This team went 14-3 last year. If I'm Justin Jefferson, I'm not going through the quarterback again. He's going to be the man, and he's going to step up. I know he's a rookie, but I don't care. You going to step up and be a good quarterback. You got too much talent around you not to be a good quarterback. I'm sorry, man. A lot of these, like Caleb Williams last year, had a great team around him. And I'm like, you had a great team, and I know the offensive line was bad too, so I'm not putting too much on just Caleb. But that was the greatest situation a rookie could come into. Can you imagine as a rookie, you have Addison, Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson at the tight end spot, Aaron Jones running the ball. You have a good offensive line. You literally stole 2 offensive linemen from the Indianapolis Colts. Ryan Kelly and Will Frost, the center and the right guard. Y'all got them. Y'all got the 2 offensive linemen from the Indianapolis Colts. You have a good offensive line, and your defense showed up today. It was a shutout, 31-0. I know you had 3 touchdowns, but man, you got to get Justin Jefferson the ball. You have to get it together, J.J. McCarthy. And I'm not just saying for this game. This was an easy game for you because the Commanders had no offense. What about next week when you got to face Dallas? I know their defense ain't that great either, but at least they have an offense. Are you going to go toe-to-toe with Dak Prescott or not? Yes, I'll give J.J. McCarthy his credit for this game, but just for the rest of your career, what you going to do with the talent that you got? 2 targets for Justin Jefferson? Awful. No. 4 targets, and 2 catches for 11 yards. It's ridiculous. But I'm going to give you credit. You won the game. I know I'm going in on him, but still, you won the game. I'll give you your credit. But you got to be better, man. Come on. This team, this Vikings team right now, as I'm looking right now, are 5-8. This should be no way. Not with this good team, no way. You're 5-8. The Detroit Lions are 8-5. The Chicago Bears are 9-4, which we'll get to them. And Green Bay's 9-3. It says that you're in the playoff hunt, but I don't trust y'all because of the quarterback. A great team with the quarterback that you don't even know is going to play well or not. But all in all, I'll give you your credit this week. I know I'm going in on you, but you guys won the game. I guess you're still in contention, but we just don't trust your quarterback in the Minnesota Vikings. We don't trust J.J. McCarthy at all. Not one bit. Next up, we had the New York Jets versus the Miami Dolphins. Now, listen, I want to say this. Tua Tagovailoa, I say he's probably going to throw an interception. He ain't throwing an interception. Now, the one thing that he did do well was when he was throwing that ball, remember, he's left-handed. He was about to throw the ball, and he was throwing to Jaylen Waddle, and he got popped. And when he got popped, I was like, oh, my God, he about to fumble. And then Waddle called it touchdown. He called it touchdown. 61% completion percentage for Tua Tagovailoa, 127 yards, 13 for 21. Did a great job. Their running back Wright had 24 carries for 107 yards and a touchdown. Achane, 7 attempts for 92 yards and a touchdown. Gordon, the other running back, 5 attempts for 17 yards and a touchdown. This was a great win. This was a great win for the Miami Dolphins. Even though the Jets are bad, Jaylen Waddle had 5 catches for 50 yards and a touchdown. Good win by them. They're still 3rd in the division. Now they're 6-7. At least they could probably try to get to 7-7 next week, depending on who they're playing. As a matter of fact, I take that back. I just looked up. They playing the Steelers. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. They ain't got no shot to beat the Steelers. I'm not giving them no chance to beat the Steelers. But all in all, the Miami Dolphins played a great game. I'm not giving them no shot to beat the Steelers, especially the way they played against Baltimore today. But anyway, the Jets are just horrible franchise. Tyrod Taylor, we hope you're getting back soon. You got hurt. You were 1 for 4, 6 yards in interception. You were terrible. The backup quarterback, Cook, had 2 interceptions, 14 of 30, 163 yards, 46% completion percentage. You had no rushing touchdowns. You had no receiving touchdowns. The Jets scored 10 points. Yeah, but all in all, the Jets are horrible in this game. Continuously be a horrible franchise. The Jets are 3-10 on the season. I think they're going to continuously lose out. I'm looking at the Jets schedule now. You guys face the Jaguars next week, which you will lose. You face the Saints after that, which is a toss-up game. You can win that. And then you face the Patriots, which is a loss. So, yeah, you're going to lose out. And you will continue to be a horrible organization. Again, I say I'm unbiased on this channel, which you guys will come to learn. But I will call you out if you're a horrible organization, just like Cleveland. So I'm going to call this team out. They're a horrible organization. They do nothing right. Justin Fields is out. You got a rookie quarterback. Who is this Cook dude? I don't know, and I don't want to know. This team is horrible again, and they will continue to be horrible. And like I said with the Colts game, if you get those 2 first-round picks from Indianapolis, well, you do have them. What are you going to do with them, and are you going to draft right? That's the big question. Because if you don't draft right, oh well. Anyway, the team's terrible, and if I'm Breece Hall, I wish I was traded. I would have cried. I would have cried and said, please get me out of here. I would have requested a trade publicly and said, get me out. He had 14 carries for 43 yards. This is a terrible team. Jets are terrible. Dolphins win. They move on to go be 6-7. This was basically simple. Dolphins beat a terrible Jets team. Next up, we had the Saints versus the Buccaneers. Now, listen, I know I've been giving this Tyler Shuck guy a lot of hard time because I think that Spencer Rattler is the better quarterback, which I still think he does. I don't care how good Shuck played today. He was 13 of 20, 144 yards, 65% completion. Because if I was biased, I would have said, well, he's playing well, so keep him in. Spencer Rattler has the better. He's just more talented than this guy. No disrespect, but 13 of 20, 144 yards. He had a 65% completion percentage. They won the game. They beat Tampa Bay. They beat Tampa Bay 24-20, and an interception. Their running back Neal had 19 attempts for 7 yards. He played a good game and had a touchdown. Their backup Shuck had 7 attempts for 55 yards and 2 touchdowns. Nobody else had a receiving touchdown. Olave had 3 catches for 30 yards. It was an okay game by the Saints. Again, the Buccaneers, I even said if for some reason the Buccaneers were to lose this game, Baker Mayfield threw 3 interceptions, even though he only threw 1. Baker Mayfield was not good in this game at all. He was 14 of 30, 122 yards, 46.7% completion percentage, a touchdown, and an interception. Threw the touchdown to Bucky Irvin. That was it, really. Chris Godwin is not really the same receiver anymore. To me, he's been hurt too much. 5 catches, receptions for 55 yards. This Tampa Bay team was awful. And if you would have told me in the beginning of this season that Carolina would be 7-6 on top of the division, then Tampa Bay would be 2nd, Atlanta would be 3rd. Now, the Saints being 4th, obviously being 3-10, yes, it would have been correct. But Atlanta being 4-9 is not no. They're a horrible organization too. And Tampa Bay being 7-6. If Carolina continuously builds on this and they win out, or they win and get to about 9-8 maybe, or they get to 10-7 and they get to the playoffs, they're going to be riding high into this coming up next offseason, and then after that, if they have a great draft, which they drafted a great receiver, you do that. This might be Carolina's division now with Bryce Young. We don't know that yet. Tampa Bay is still supposed to be the best team, but I know they had injuries, so we'll give them that. But Baker Mayfield wasn't great today against this defense. It was a horrible game by Baker. And usually I'm pro, like, okay, hey man, Baker, even though he's playing against bad teams beginning of the season, hey man, he's cooking. Let him go. He's really doing a good job. But Buccaneers are horrible all over today. The Saints, I'm gonna give them their credit. Gotta be unbiased. I'm gonna give you credit. You still won the game despite the lack of talent on your team, and not only despite a lack of talent on the team, but just a lack of a team, because y'all horrible. 3-10. I mean, I'll give you your credit, but Baker Mayfield was horrible, and I think that's really contributed to it. The running game wasn't that great. The entire team, they had 39 attempts, 179 yards, but that's between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. So actually 4 people. One person had an attempt and they fumbled. It's like, you can't make this up. Anyway, Tampa Bay, I think they're just too banged up. They need Mike Evans back. They need their receiving room back. They just need to get healthy. And it's so late in the season, you don't know if they are going to get healthy, but we'll see. Anyway, Saints beat the Buccaneers 24-20 in this football game. Next up, we have the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Buffalo Bills. And man, let me tell you something right now. I'm looking at the stat line. I'm going to talk about Buffalo first, because I might go into a rant about Joe Burrow. Josh Allen was 22 of 28, 251 yards, 78% completion percentage. He had 3 touchdowns. Average per attempt was 8.9. James Cook, man, 18 carries for 80 yards, 4.4 average. Josh Allen, 9 carries for 78 yards and a touchdown. This is a great game by their team. Dawson Knox had 6 catches for 93 yards. Kincaid had 4 catches for 41 yards and a touchdown. Shakir had 2 catches for 16 yards and a touchdown. This was just a great game by Buffalo. Benford had an interception. He returned it for 63 yards and a touchdown. They had another interception against Joe Burrow. Hats off to Buffalo. I picked Cincinnati to win this game. And the reason why I did, because I said, hey, well, I don't trust Buffalo's defense. I don't trust Cincinnati's defense. It's going to be an offensive game in my predictions. The Bengals can run the table. We already knew their defense was bad. That's not an excuse. We know the defense has been bad for years. Since they let Jesse Bates go, their safety, we know they've been bad. We also know that the Bills' defense is up and down, and that if anybody in the league was going to take advantage of that, it would have been Joe Burrow. Now, let me show you, because he did. I'm going to exclude the 2 interceptions for this particular conversation. His entire stat line, 25 of 36, 284 yards, 69% completion percentage. If that's one thing Joe Burrow knows how to do, is have a great completion percentage. And I'm a sucker for completion percentage. I love completion percentage. Even though you can lose and complete 80% of your passes, and for some reason, I'll still give you a little credit for that. But anyway, 7.8 yards per attempt. He had 4 touchdowns. Joe Burrow had 4 touchdowns. Chase Brown had 12 attempts for 23 yards. He averaged 1.9 a carry. This is ridiculous. P. Ryan, 6 attempts for 31 yards. By the way, Chase Brown had a nice touchdown, by the way. He had a nice touchdown catch. And also, Joe Burrow, which was shocking, was only sacked 1 time because his offensive line for years had been letting him get hit. 1 sack by this Buffalo Bills defense. As a matter of fact, the Bills, Josh Allen got sacked 3 times by Cincinnati. So Cincinnati did a good job sacking. I know they can't tackle. By the way, anybody out there who did not watch the game, it was snowing. It was basically looked like a blizzard out there. Not really a blizzard, but it was just a lot of snow on the ground. So you could tell it was a lot of, people could run it, but it was just like a little bit more slower because I think nobody wanted to slip, which is obviously the case. But I want to go back to Joe Burrow now. Joe Burrow was cooking this entire game. The first half, he was amazing. Amazing. I'll give him his credit. We get to the second half, ladies and gentlemen. Joe Burrow throws a horrible interception. He throws an interception so bad. I usually don't get emotional and angry, but when he threw the interception, I say, okay, you know what? He made a mistake. I'm a little frustrated. Because usually I don't root for teams. I'm unbiased. I don't root for teams. But when I make a game pick, I want my game pick to be right. So eventually I'm rooting for my game pick of the day. Because I could pick Cincinnati now and then next week not pick them. And then pick Buffalo next week and root for Buffalo because I just want my game picks to be right. I don't always have to be right. That's not a caveat to me being on here. But Joe Burrow had 2 interceptions. He threw the interception. They returned it for a touchdown. He basically batted up to himself. The defender called it touchdown. Okay, that's fine. I'll give you that. The very next possession he comes out there, he throws another interception. I don't care if it bounced off the defender's hand. He still threw that interception because you're the quarterback and you're going to have to take that. He threw 2 interceptions in back-to-back drives, and when they got the ball back, they scored, and he cost the team the game. Joe Burrow is single-handedly responsible for this team losing. Any Cincinnati fan, it's Zach Taylor. No, it's not. I get it. Zach Taylor hasn't been the best representation of a head coach, especially with Joe Burrow. Yes, Cincinnati's wasting Joe Burrow's prime. Yes, they have to get better defensive players. They should never let Jesse Bates go. This defense is terrible. Bad on this defense. And by the way, Joe Burrow, this is on you. You have to take this loss. You cost this team the game. T. Higgins played nice. And by the way, Jamar Chase, where were you? 8 targets, 5 catches, 44 yards. T. Higgins, 6 catches for 92 yards. Great. Mike Gesicki, 6 catches, 86 yards. They both had touchdowns. T. Higgins had 2 touchdowns. Chase Brown had a great touchdown catch in the end zone. Joe Burrow cost this Bengals team this victory. And I was so angry that I was going to come up here and say at the start of next season, because the Bengals are 3-10 now, Cincinnati is 4-9. That's the Cleveland Browns. Makes really no difference. I was going to come and do a video and say, I don't want to hear Joe Burrow being in the top 5 conversation next year. This is just ridiculous, man. You cost this team this game. Anybody says otherwise, it was the defense. Of course you're going to blame the defense. They've been terrible. This was on Joe Burrow. Flat out. This was on him. Next year, I don't want to hear, he better than Josh. Nope. Josh Allen's over him right now. Patrick Mahomes is still over him now. Even though he's having a bad season, he's better than him. I'm taking Drake May next year. Right now, I love Joe Burrow in college. I love Joe Burrow coming out of college. When Colin Cowherd said that he was basically a Tony Romo, I was like, man, this guy's tripping. Joe Burrow is that dude. I like Joe Burrow. This was a horrible loss. I don't even care about running the table. You threw 2 interceptions back-to-back drives, which basically went for touchdowns. You cost this team this victory. Terrible game by the Bengals. Nice job to the Buffalo Bills for winning this football game. Amazing game by Josh Allen, especially in that snow. And when they was losing, I said, I'm going to come on here and do a video and say, man, you causing this team this game because you losing. This is your element. The snow, this is you. The snow and everything and the theatrics of it is you. Great job by Buffalo. You got to give them their credit. Next up, we have the Denver Broncos versus the Las Vegas Raiders. And I'm just pulling up the stats here again. Bo Nix was 31 of 38, 81% completion percentage, 212 yards. He didn't throw for any touchdowns. He was sacked 3 times. Harvey, the running back, 7 attempts for 75 yards and a touchdown, which was great for him. Bo Nix had a rushing touchdown, 3 carries, 15 yards. Sutton had 10 targets. He had 6 catches for 62 yards. An amazing game by Denver and their defense. They won this game 24-17. Geno Smith had a touchdown. He played okay. 13 of 21, 116 yards, 61% completion percentage. They put Kenny Pickett in the game. 8 for 11, a touchdown, 97 yards passing. They didn't have any rushing touchdowns. Receiving touchdown, Brock Bowers is an amazing tight end. Please use Mike Mayer, the other tight end, some more. I think that'll help out this team. Overall, this wasn't really too much about. Denver's 11-2. They're number 1 in the AFC right now. I think New England's number 2, just right behind them with the same 10-2 record. But this is just a great victory for the Denver Broncos to continuously keep winning. Great job by Denver. You have to give Sean Payton his credit. I don't trust Bo Nix in the first 3 quarters like I told y'all. But overall, he's been playing well in the 4th quarter, and they've been winning games. They've won 11 games. And by the way, New England's 11-2. Denver 11-2. They're still number 1 in the AFC because they just played. Again, hats off to the Denver Broncos. I ain't got no complaints, except for the first 3 quarters for your quarterback. Defense is amazing. Bo Nix has to turn it around because in the playoff time, you cannot be awful for 3 quarters and think you're just going to come back in the 4th quarter and win. It's a different element in the playoffs, and he has got to get used to that. Next up, we had the Chicago Bears versus the Green Bay Packers. Now, I said in this game, I said I'm picking the Packers. The Packers ended up winning. However, I said, Jordan Love, you cannot make any mistakes. Don't turn the ball over. They're number 1 in turnovers. Remember Chicago's defense and Jordan Love. A nice interception to Chicago. But anyway, Jordan Love was 17 of 25, 235 yards, averaged 9.3 yards per attempt. 3 touchdowns, only sacked 1 time, which I told you, they don't really have a good rush defense in Chicago. They're good with turnovers, that's about it. 3 touchdowns, interception, only sacked 1 time. Josh Jacobs played amazing. 20 carries, 86 yards, and touchdown, 4.3 average. Christian Watson, 4 catches, 89 yards. He had nice touchdown catches, by the way. 2 touchdowns today. Melton had a catch for 45 yards and a touchdown. This game was amazing. I looked at it. I watched it. Even though the Green Bay Packers, their defense only had 1 sack on the day, they still played well enough to win this football game, obviously, because the score is 21-28. I'll give the Bears their credit. Caleb Williams was 19 of 35, 186 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. He was only sacked 1 time, like I said, as well. The problem I have with Caleb Williams, again, is that some of the plays that you want to have there, and you have them, you keep missing them. And that's why I bring up completion percentage. You were 19 of 35. I'm not going to beat you up too much today because even though you had 186 yards and 54.3 completion percentage, the problem that I have is that when you need it the most, you're not completing the passes that needs to be completed. But because the way that you played today, I'll give you your respect and your applause. The receiving core had a great game. Colston Loveland had a touchdown, 4 catches, 29 yards and a touchdown. Luther Burden had 4 catches for 67 yards and a touchdown. This was a good game by the Green Bay Packers. Next up, we have the Los Angeles Rams versus the Arizona Cardinals. Man, Matthew Stafford was on one today. 22 of 31, 281 yards, 71% complete percentage, 3 touchdowns. I told you they was going to bounce back from that loss against the Panthers. They were serious today. Listen, their running back Corum, 12 attempts, 128 yards, 2 touchdowns. Williams, the other running back, 13 carries, 84 yards and a touchdown. Corum averaged 10.6 yards a carry. This was an amazing game. Puka Nacua looked like he mossed some guy. The way he caught the ball, if you saw the highlights, guys, was amazing. 7 receptions, 167 yards and a touchdown. I'm concerned about Devontae Adams, even though he has 6 targets, 4 catches for 29 yards. I know Matthew Stafford missed him on a touchdown, but this was a great game by the Los Angeles Rams to bounce back from that. The Rams had 3 sacks on the day. Great job by their defense getting after Jacoby Brissett. Again, I don't expect anything from the Cardinals anymore like I did prior to in the season. But Jacoby Brissett, 25 of 44, 271 yards, 56% complete percentage, 2 touchdowns and an interception. He was sacked, of course, 3 times. Wilson, a receiver, 11 catches for 142 yards and 2 touchdowns. He has 16 targets. He had an amazing game. Listen, I told you guys, every time I talk about the Cardinals, I'm not expecting them to win. I'm just expecting them to fight and play hard, and that's what they do. Jacoby Brissett, even though they lost 45-17, You have to give the Cardinals their respect. Listen, I know that they are 3-10. They're 3-10. It's over. They're eliminated. They're not going anywhere. But I still give them their respect because of the way that they fight. They just fight. They're not giving up on the season. They fighting. Maybe they'll continuously go through the draft. I don't think Kyler Murray is going to be there anymore next year. But I'm going to give Arizona their credit. They fight every single week. They try. And that's all you can do. I know the season didn't go well for Arizona Cardinals fans. I know the season didn't go well for the franchise. But you got to be encouraged that the people in the locker room are setting a positive example that they're not going to sit there and just fold. At least that's the one bright spot that you could take out of it. Again, the Rams are great. Matthew Stafford is great. Is Matthew Stafford back and leader for MVP? No. It's Drake May. Drake May is the MVP right now. He is the MVP of the league, and that's just how I feel. No disrespect to Matthew Stafford, but that game against the Panthers, man, that was really horrible situation that you put your team in. Because if you don't throw them that pick six and that fumble that ball, y'all might have won that game. But listen, everybody make mistakes, but still, I still have Drake May as my MVP. But all in all, nice job by Matthew Stafford and this Rams team. This was a dominant victory. Even though the Arizona Cardinals, the division opponent, I still have to give you guys your credit. So congratulations to the Rams on this victory. They played an amazing game. Next up, we have the Houston Texans at the Kansas City Chiefs. The Texans win this game 20-10. C.J. Stroud was 15 of 31, 203 yards and a touchdown, completed 48% of his passes, which is not good, but I'll give him his credit because they won the game. 3 sacks. Their running back, Marks, 26 attempts for 68 yards, 2.6 average is not good. Nico Collins, 4 catches, 121 yards. A great game by him. I know he didn't have a receiving touchdown, but that was great. Marks, again, had 2 catches of 8 yards and a touchdown for this football team. This Texans defense had 2 sacks on Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes, by the way, was 14 of 33, 160 yards. He completed 42% of his passes, average of 4.8, 0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and 2 sacks. Listen, Kareem Hunt, 12 carries for 30 yards and a touchdown. 2.5 yard average is not good. This receiving core is absolutely horrible. Travis Kelce, this is your last year. No disrespect. I know you're Hall of Fame, and I know that you're going to the Hall of Fame, obviously, and you're a 3-time Super Bowl champion. With that being said, you had 8 targets. You had 5 targets, had 1 catch for 8 yards. It's over, buddy. I'm sorry. You might now, if this team somehow still gets to the playoffs and you do your thing, then I'll come back and give you your credit. But until then, no. Patrick Mahomes awful in this game. And by the way, I don't want to hear any excuses because I said the same thing in my preview and predictions. The offensive line for both teams are bad. The defense take advantage. Chris Jones, who's the defensive player on the Kansas City Chiefs, I said you have to have a sack in this game. And he was in their face the whole time. He had a sack in his game, I was right. And he was in C.J. Stroud's face the entire game. This game, C.J. Stroud didn't play well either. He did enough to win the game and had a touchdown, but Patrick Mahomes was awful. He was awful. And I don't want no excuse about the offensive line. Listen, C.J. Stroud has one of the worst offensive line in football. I told you, this goes back to when Deshaun Watson was in Houston and they had a bad offensive line. They traded Laremy Tunsil left tackle. C.J. Stroud doesn't have a good offensive line either. Joe Burrow never has a good offensive line in his career. There are certain quarterbacks who have never had great offensive lines, but they still get the job done. I know the offensive line was banged up. I know. But Patrick Mahomes, again, I told you guys in my previous predictions, he took a horrible sack. For the life of me, he stands there and just takes sacks. Stop standing there and run. I know, listen, he did a great job running the ball, getting first downs. But when it's time when the defender's getting faced and the offensive lineman literally is standing right in front of Patrick Mahomes, he'll stand there right behind the guy trying to get the ball down the field, but your receivers got to get open, I know. But come on. He took a sack. I was like, man, you did this against the Cowboys. What are you doing? Xavier Worthy had 4 targets for 3 catches, 55 yards. Man, you got to give him the ball more. Marquise Brown, 2 targets for 1 catch, 35 yards. Rashee Rice had 8 targets, 4 catches for 34 yards. This is horrible. Stop throwing the ball to Thornton, trying to throw the ball down the field, Thornton. Against this Houston Texans defense. This was a horrible game, and this was a slow game. And by the way, I just want to say this about Sunday Night Football, because this aggravates me. Why is it when we watch the 1 o'clock game and the 4 o'clock games, they're much better, but as soon as we get to Sunday Night Football, Thursday Night Football, and Monday Night Football, these games are slow and awful. Thursday Night Football is awful. I don't care what y'all say. Thursday Night Football is awful. Monday Night Football is awful most of the time. And Sunday Night Football, besides like 2 or 3 games this year, has been awful. Has been terrible. I'm getting sick of it. These games are horrible in prime time. And if I was the NFL, I would have flexed Kansas City out of this game. We didn't need to see y'all. We didn't need to see Kansas City in this game. Patrick Mahomes is awful, and I don't want to hear no excuses about the offensive line when you have plenty of people in this league whose offensive line are bad. He's the best quarterback in the league, contrary to what everybody else says. I don't care about what's going on this year. Your rankings next year, when you say who's the best quarterback next year, it's going to be Patrick Mahomes. I don't care who wins the Super Bowl. If Josh Allen wins the Super Bowl, to me, he's still not better than Patrick Mahomes. I believe that Patrick Mahomes, even unbiasedly, he's the best quarterback of this generation. Just like Brady was. Yes, Brady never had a losing season, whatever the case may be. But Peyton Manning was more gifted than Tom Brady. I'm talking about throwing the ball and all that stuff like that. I'm talking about traits too. You could look at Aaron Rodgers. Oh, he was more gifted. He had a better arm. The way he throw the ball. The way he throws off platform. All these different things like that. But at the end of the day, when we came down to Tom Brady and everybody else, we said Tom Brady is the best quarterback in the league. No matter what it was. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the league, and he's not playing like it. This is on him. 3 interceptions. Come on, man. What are we doing? 3 interceptions? Travis Kelce is done, man. It's time to pack it up, retire. You didn't last year your contract. If I'm the Kansas City Chiefs, there's no disrespect. You could sign every contract to retire, a Chief. But this is it, man. This is it for Travis Kelce. It's over. You have to give the Texans their credit. Defense all over Patrick Mahomes to get those 3 turnovers. The Houston Texans offensive line, no disrespect to Houston. I don't have to be unbiased here. I don't want to see Houston Texans in the playoffs. I picked the Chiefs to win this game because I said if you have to trust somebody, you have to trust Patrick Mahomes over C.J. Stroud. And I don't want to see Kansas City in the playoffs. No, I want to see the Chiefs in the playoffs. I don't want to see none of these teams in the playoffs. The offensive lines are so bad, even though Patrick Mahomes, that's not an excuse. But their offensive line is so bad, I don't want to see it. I don't. If you think the regular season is bad getting hit, imagine you in the postseason knowing that you ain't got a game next week when you lose. This was an awful game by Patrick Mahomes. Give the Texans their respect because they won this football game flat out. It was just a defensive game. It was a horrible game nonetheless, but it was just a defensive game. And I'm going to give Patrick Mahomes a lot of flack because of the way he played. I'm going to give C.J. Stroud credit for the way that he played because he was getting hit in his face and he still played a decent game. Not a great game, but he wasn't great. But, I'm still got to give him his credit for winning this football game. All right, guys, let me know in the comment section down below how you felt about these slate of games that came on and my opinions about these games. Let me know in the comment section down below who you liked this week, who you didn't, and how you felt overall about all these football games. Before you go, please hit that like button and subscribe button to the YouTube channel for more great content coming up. Till next time, guys. See you real soon.